Hello everyone. Now, normally I don't make videos like this where I just talk about a particular topic and then make that the entire video, but I've decided to make an exception in this case because I've sort of went through a particularly shitty scenario and I kind of just wanted to, I don't know, put some information out there to the public. Though admittedly I'm not exactly a popular YouTuber, but still, I just wanted to sort of put this out on YouTube because it's something that I didn't really see anything about online, so it's kind of sketchy to me. So basically, before I actually get into sort of the main title I put on this video, I'm going to go through my particular situation. So about a week ago, I started getting emails that different accounts of mine were trying to get their emails changed. And basically it turns out someone hacked an account of mine, or I guess I shouldn't say hacked per se, but they found out the information on an account of mine, and as you'd probably expect, it was my Origin account. And to be perfectly honest, the main problem with this whole situation was just my own stupidity. I was stupid enough to trust EA and use the same password I used for my email for my Origin account, which is kind of funny because normally I do try to use different passwords for a lot of different sites of mine, or I should say of mine, but sites I use, especially if it's a website that I have particularly, I guess, important things stored on, such as gaming websites. I use a different password for Steam, for example, and for Uplay and all that stuff, and I use a different password for my emails, but for whatever reason I was an idiot, and I used the same password for my email account that I use, or I should say one of my email accounts that I use, and my Origin account, which was really stupid because here's what happens. Someone using my password, they must have gotten lucky because they just randomly decided to use that same password on my email, and then by having access to my email, I'm assuming they just entered in my email on a bunch of different websites and then used the forgot password button, and then because they had access to my email, they then basically tried hacking a bunch of accounts for their own gain. Now fortunately, I found out about this problem early on, so I was able to secure all of my accounts that I actually use on different websites that they were trying to hack. There was one that it was my Uplay account too, because even though I used a different password for my Uplay account, because they had access to my email, they were able to use that forgot password bullshit, and then they actually changed the email associated with that account, and they changed everything about that account that they could pretty much. But I fortunately was able to go through Uplay's customer service, which was much better than I was expecting, and get my account back. Now, yeah, that was a pretty shitty situation because it was obviously a bit stressful because I wasn't sure what information this guy had, and I wasn't sure how he got this information either. Because here's the thing, after I finally secured all my accounts and, got everything okay, I kind of randomly decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up my email account online, and I also decided, or my Origin account, but I did email first, and I just did it in quotation marks on Google because if you do that it always only finds that particular set of terms. So I looked up my email account pretty much, and guess what? It was on basically a Russian hacker site, it seemed to be. I say Russian just because when I clicked on the link everything was in Russian on that site. And it basically had a list of my Origin account as well as a couple hundred others, which kind of brings me to my main point of this video. That's pretty fucked up. Because here's the thing, this thread that was online, it was only made it started being made, here's the weird thing, it started being made March, I think 7th or something was it, and then my information was posted March 20th. So, it's someone who's been basically, I guess, incrementally releasing a bunch of people's accounts and the passwords of those accounts. Now, I'm sure someone's going to say, oh, well, what's this website? But here's the thing, I'm not that much of an asshole or an idiot, and I'm not going to release the details of this particular website, because here's the thing, this website looked like it was pretty obscure, and the last thing I want to do is tell the possible millions of people on YouTube about this website, and then let everyone else's accounts that may not have yet been compromised that were listed on this list of, accounts and passwords. I don't want to let those people then get hacked because that would be kind of shitty of me. So I guess if for some reason like a legitimate news source or something wanted to know the website, then I might say it, but I'm not just going to post it in public view on YouTube, because I could see that fucking a lot of people's days up. So I'm not gonna actually say the website, but let's just say it was basically just a Russian hacking forum, I'm pretty sure, and that particular thread had hundreds of people's Origin accounts. And here's the thing that leads me to my main issue is, how the fuck did this happen? Because, like I said, this was information that was just released a couple weeks ago on that site, and I looked up then EA, hacked, or Origin hacked, on Google, in the Google News category, to see if there was anything, and there's nothing. So this is either something that EA doesn't know about, or I guess perhaps it might be something that they just don't care about. Like I said, it was only a couple hundred accounts, so it wasn't like dozens, or I shouldn't say dozens, it wasn't like thousands or millions of people's accounts got compromised. So I wouldn't be surprised, given EA's track record, there might have just been a small amount of information that somehow got released, and they're just not saying anything about it. Or I guess the other situation is they just don't know about it. Though I doubt that, because like I said, there were hundreds of accounts. And I feel like that might be a bit suspicious. And you might also say, well, how do you know that it was actually EA's servers or data banks or whatever the hell that got hacked? Well, I'm pretty sure that's the case, because here's the thing. The password I used and the passwords that I noticed on that forum, they were all pretty long, lengthy. I mean, I even looked up a website out there that sort of rates the security of your password and gives like a guesstimate of how long it would take to brute force that password. And I mean, my password alone would take like, or I should say the one I used would take like 2 weeks just to brute force. Although now that I've changed all my passwords to something stronger, it would now take like 2,000 years to hack my new password, so yeah, it wouldn't be very useful. And anyways, here's the other thing. Most sites, and I'm assuming EA is one of them, usually when someone tries to hack a particular account, or I shouldn't say hack, but access a particular account and is trying different passwords, usually after like 10 or 20, or maybe even, I'm sure some sites might let you do like 100, after a certain number of attempts, usually the website goes, okay, you've tried accessing this account too many times, the account is now locked for the next 30 minutes, let's say. And I'm assuming EA has basic security measures like that, I would hope. And it is kind of funny, because I've used this website, or I shouldn't say website, this password, for the last like 7 years of my life, on various random accounts, more or less. So it's pretty hilarious how, even though I've used the same password on obscure random websites that I just sort of would sign up for just to use once, and that's admittedly a stupid thing to do as well, but even though I've done that, it's pretty hilarious to me how it wasn't just some random forum or random website I used this password on that got compromised. It was motherfucking EA, which to me is just freaking hilarious. How out of literally the dozens of websites I've probably used this password on, the one that fucked it up was EA, which it's just kind of ironic to me, I guess, how even though they should be, considering their size, very secure, it's pretty funny to me how obviously they are not as secure as they should be. So yeah, this is kind of just the thing I'm basically just spending this video bitching, but I kind of wanted to just bring that information to light, because obviously there shouldn't be a website where people are allowed to post hundreds of accounts with their passwords without there being any sort of news article or information about it. And obviously EA's security system shouldn't be that shitty that people are able to do that. Like, I'm really wondering why they haven't done anything about it, you know? Like, there hasn't been any sort of press release, there hasn't been anything. Actually, there was, I noticed, when I looked up the news thing, there was, like, some random obscure website that posted something like, it was actually, I think, a couple weeks ago, that was talking about possible accounts being hacked, and that EA didn't release anything about it. So, apparently there's some random obscure small website out there that's noticed this, but as a whole, it's apparently a pretty unknown thing, which is pretty freaking scary. And I could see EA doing that. I could see them deciding, oh, it was only a couple hundred accounts that, you know, the information got compromised. Let's just not say a single thing about it, because that'll end up fucking us over more than it will to tell the whole world about it, and then have our reputation go down even more. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they did, is if they just decided not to say anything about it, just because in their mind it was less of a problem than saying something about it, which is pretty freaking scary if that is the case. Because, I mean, that's really there's only two situations that could really happen. Is either information was hacked and they didn't know about it, or they did know about it. It's basically the case, because like I said, my password, and I did look at some of the passwords that were on that site, or that forum I should say as well, and a lot of them were pretty lengthy and random character, you know, they were randomly generated sort of things. Like, they should not have been something that EA was just supposed to figure out. Or not EA. It's not something someone could just brute force. And on top of that, if you were going to try to brute force a person's account, I feel like Origin is the last thing you'd want to be doing that for, because, like, what the fuck is that going to get you? I mean, my Origin account only had 3 games, and 2 of them were games that I had keys for, and there's only 1 game I actually bought on Origin, so there was nothing my account was actually useful for, really, besides making it so that someone could hack my email because I was stupid. So yeah, that's about everything I have to say. Hopefully I remembered everything I wanted to talk about, but yeah, that's pretty messed up in my opinion, that at least from what I can tell, EA has either lied about something, I guess I shouldn't say lie, they just haven't said anything about this, or they just don't know about it, which is also probably not the best thing if they don't know that someone's accessing the data of hundreds of users and just randomly posting it online. So, yeah, that's about it. Turns out EA is still just as shitty as they are, at least in my mind. It's funny, because I was just thinking lately how, oh, EA, they're not that bad anymore, you know? They're not as evil of a corporation as they once were. But no, it turns out they kind of are, at least as far as I can tell. So, yeah, that's about it. Goodbye.